Hello everybody, I am Roberto Ferrari from the University of Ferrara, and I'm here to tell you that to have elevated blood pressure is bad. It damages the heart, the brain and the kidney. And the problem is that you do not feel the level of pressure in the pipes of your body. For this reason, hypertension or high blood pressure is considered the silent killer. This is because there is too much salt in your meal. So please, my message to you is please reduce the salt in your meal. Cook with less salt. Remember, this is an S.O.S. Step down with your salt. It's very important for your health. Of course, this can be done, and Dr. Ganesh, Nallur, Shivu will tell you how to do it.
Thank you, Dr. Robert Ferrari, and I completely agree with you that the fight against salt is very important, and doing the step-down procedure of salt intake is going to go a long way in reducing the cardiovascular risk burden in the population. In India, one of the main problems is the salt intake is very high. Against the standard of 5 gram per day, as much as 11 gram per day of salt intake is there in India as an average. So it's very important to reduce our salt intake. Increase in the salt intake increases the risk of hypertension, stroke, heart attack, and also renal failure. So how do we reduce the salt intake? You can do very simple things to try and reduce the salt intake on a day-to-day basis. For example, you stop putting salt in the rice or before you're cooking, or putting salt in the dough when you're doing the chapati or the parathas. Then stop adding extra salt to any of the accompanies like curds or vegetables or salads. So sprinkling salt onto these things can be stopped. That is all added salt. And also try to avoid eating stuff which have a highly salty, like salted mixture, salted chutneys, ketchups. So all these have very high content of salt. And by not using them on a regular basis, you can reduce the salt intake. Also, the other thing is to avoid pickles, which tend to have a very high amount of salt in them. There are other things we can do. Simple things like don't have the salt container on the dining table, because whenever you feel that the salt is slightly less, you will try to put extra salt. So do that, and try and avoid eating outside food which tend to contain a lot of salt. Also, when you're cooking, if you reduce the amount of salt in the cooking drastically, then it will not be palatable. So try and reduce it by 10-20% on an initial basis to try and reduce the salt amount. So these are the few ways that we can actually reduce the overall salt intake, and let us join together to fight in the step down of salt, and let's not ignore this major problem. Thank you.